Hi Todd, how are you? Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I had my mute on.
Oh,
Oh, I'm just said busy. How are you?
hanging in there. I was really bummed about our meeting yesterday. I think they're attacking us. I mean, I had three people willing to step up for sheriff and then, internet issue, and then I read today that there was another blackout, a power grid blackout.
Yeah, it's well, I don't know. I read a little bit about it. I didn't get into it. I've been just so much. There's so much stuff going on, and you'll figure out more as we go on through the tonight's meeting. But um, so I haven't been able to keep abreast of everything. But yeah, I know there's several things going on.
Did you get the notices for the land law and all that I sent in the email?
Yes, I did. That was what you asked me about yesterday, right? Or was it?
Um, yes.
Yeah. Uh, So is this, well, that notice that you were talking about, that was, I guess, put out by Anna.
Yes, she put out two. And then they went bankrupt on October 1st. And then on October 5th, there was the one about FEMA and that they could, hunt them basically if they were obstructing justice and help.
Right.
And then there was the one, I think it's got 8 or 9 points on it about the notice to the sheriffs or to
Yeah,
the
that's what the part I was looking at there.
that's the main one that I kind of want to go over because that's what she's asked us to take action on, on all assemblies. I mean, like we're not going to be hunting people that aren't, we're not in North Carolina is my point. So that first notice isn't kind of for us. It's for the people that are in the disaster area. And then the second one is for all the assemblies.
So I'm gonna get started, and then we're gonna address something uh, about that, and then we'll go into some things. But it's just just hold on for a second. Let me pull this up. Welcome everybody. All right, everybody see that?
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and get started as normal. Chris, after we do our moment of silence, you want to read the Bivens again?
Sure thing.
Let's do. Hold on a second here. Here we go. All right, we'll start our moment of silence now. Okay, Chris.
Bivens decision. This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance at today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, county, city, or township agencies present? Additionally, are there any U.S. citizens or citizens of the United States present? Anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now or leave the premises. If they subsequently show up as federal witnesses, they are discredited for failure to disclose. Is there any response to the Bivens decision? Seeing none, I'll yield the floor to Todd.
Okay, so I'm gonna read mission statement and then motto. As a Kentucky Assembly militia, we are charged with keeping the peace and defending Kentuckians from overreaching government and those attempting to inflict harm on people of Kentucky, and to provide protection and safety of Kentuckians in disasters and emergencies and education. Protect, move, communicate by lawful peacekeeping is our motto. So after discussion of some different things going on, we'll get into this, and then I'm going to get to the little bit of the issue yesterday. They're still looking for the militia, the committee, to be able to be formed and have volunteers that would. So we actually form a committee. I know we got people that are on here, but we haven't actually just sit down and formed a committee yet. That way they can continue as far as education and everything. Zoom link. So this is what on here that after some discussion and everything, after not last night's Zoom link, which I've found out since then that I think there's access now that can get back into the Zoom link. We're talking about having discussion tonight about the sheriff's notice. But after some discussion, I feel that this space is not the place for this discussion, and a notice committee could be formed to discuss issues like this and bring it before the General Assembly to vote on. And the reasoning is that because you go out here and you start giving notices, if you don't have a plan in place and how to implement it, then it's going to fail. And the first thing that happens is you're going to go over there and you're going to give somebody a notice, and they're going to say, "Who are you and who do you think you are?" Laura.
That's what last night's meeting was supposed to be about, and I am perfectly fine to wait until Justin is here. I just want to review it if possible. But no, I've already gotten a plan. I've already gone to other meetings where they've discussed on how they're doing it. I've spoken with Joe a little bit on how they're doing it. It is going to be, but I just wanted to start the process because it is a process that will help me greatly in my case, particularly. So I'm sorry if I freaked people out wanting to do emergency meeting yesterday. I thought from our prior meetings that we were supposed to be going over the assembly books. We were supposed to be doing General Assembly with Arkansas on the first Tuesday. The second and fourth, we were supposed to be doing our General Assemblies. And that third week in there, we were supposed to be going over the assembly book. So I thought we would have a link already set, but we didn't. And that's just, I'm sorry about that. So
Well,
I'll yield with all that.
I mean, there can be some discussion and everything, or if you want to share some of the main points. I just didn't want to be in the place here where we were basically taking this and making this the other meeting. I want to discuss the things that we had here, and I don't know if Joe's going to be on here. I haven't talked to Joe, and I don't think Chris has, as far as I'm aware. Have you, Chris?
I've
I
talked
have
to
none.
Joe. He
You have
plans
talked
on
to Joe?
coming. Yes. I don't know when, but he plans on popping in. At least that's what he said last night.
Now, I know he had been having some other meetings, I think, like right after this, maybe. Am I thinking right? Um, so if you want to share a little bit more on that, I just didn't want to get into the whole thing and then basically, if we didn't have a plan or however, then we jump the gun and then you would just look like, well, these people don't have a clue and they don't know what they're doing. So
No, the we can mail the notices. I think it's mailing and then we open up communication with them. But we are supposed to get the notices to them, but I agree with you. It would probably be better to talk more on the federal side and get PTKF and not federal federation side and get PTKF because they've talked about what Anna was talking about was PTKF, the sheriffs, the deputies, the marshals at arms. Those were the ones that are supposed to be implementing this. So when we have that meeting, we have to have those people present. Part of why I wanted to do it is to get the sheriffs that wanted to be seated and we have to have, a general assembly meeting for that also. So I don't
Right.
want to take over your meeting. I just want to discuss the notice. That's it. Thank you.
Is there any more on that notice that you want to discuss?
I just really want to make sure people read it. We give them materials and sometimes I feel like we need to read them in our meetings just for educational purposes, and a lot of other assemblies have that on their, you know, like we did with the orientation thing when we went through with that and that kind of thing. And I'll yield.
Um, would you all like to have that read tonight? I mean, we've got some time. I don't have a full like loaded agenda. We're still working through some of the planning on that next meetup and everything, but and then there's some other things that's going to be discussed. Austin, you have anything? So, if you want to share any highlights or points on that, Laura, go ahead. You can take this time and opportunity. Like I said, I didn't know if Joe was going to be here, and the fact that the PKTF and the Federation, they would have to definitely be, obviously tied to that, or again, there would be no standing at all. But you were talking about that. But is there any particular points or anything in the notice or any of the information that you sent out that you would like to share at this present time?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay,
I'm trying to get the link to Joe. I'm sorry.
that's fine. Okay, so moving on down, we've got the plan for the next training day. We haven't set a date or a place. We have some of the topics. The bug out bag, Joe was going to take that. Herbal remedies were Belinda and Laura. And then Bob was going to do the fire starting. We still had the security, safety, and protection. And no one has said anything in particular about maybe wanting to do that or whatever. So if if nothing else, I mean, those three could be done. If even if we didn't have the fourth, or if we had to substitute if somebody didn't take on the security, safety, and protection part. Any thoughts or comments on that? Quiet bunch tonight.
If nobody wants to step up and do the security, safety, and protection, I can do the water purification again, just to fill the time slot if we need to.
Okay. That's definitely an option because we can always continue to just keep knowing or going over the things that we've already gone over and learned. Um, any other thoughts or comments from anybody else?
I'd try to do a better job at presentation this time too. Kind
Now
of
you
sped
did,
through it last time.
yeah, some that happens sometimes when you're first doing things because it's like doing a speech when you're a kid.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a 5 minute speech and you can do it in 2 minutes or whatever. So that all comes with time. But you did great. I think everybody did a good job. Welcome, Tom.
Hey, Todd, how's everybody?
All right. Uh, Doing good. So, one of the things we mentioned, we were still trying to figure out what date and where, because I know we were talking about potentially doing December, but if not, maybe after the first of the year. So I don't know if y'all want to try to pinpoint something on that, even if you don't have a specific like day. And then also we would have to figure out the place because it has to be indoors now. Any thoughts on that?
Could we maybe rent a church cheap?
I don't know. I don't know if some churches have like fellowship halls and stuff like that that they might would rent out, but I'm not. And then the thing is I don't know if we would do like you were going to do last time where I know we did there at Taylorsville, the location because I know there's more people that are in that area near Jefferson County. So that would be the thing is trying to figure that out. Whether you rented some there in that general vicinity. I don't know if there's anything close to where we were when we did the there at the lake or not. Is anybody aware of anything, any facilities?
Um, we may be able to do it at one of our old churches that's in Fern Creek, which is, I don't know, about 20-25 minutes from here.
Well, I guess
But I don't know how location wise that would be for people to get to,
yeah.
It's
Well, I mean that's at least a starting point. That'd be something if you could look into that and get the information, then you could pass it along. Unless somebody else has something.
Things ever figure out about the schools? We have one place, it's like training center, maybe?
the
What were you
Forest
talking?
Green Boulevard, maybe.
Oh, you're talking about the PKTF place?
Yeah, that's it, pretty sure.
That's like, how, Chris, do you remember? Was it like a couple $100 or more?
I don't remember that he ever put a number on it, but he said it was fairly expensive to rent it.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I knew it was fairly expensive, and if I understood correct, that would come more when we knew we had like a big gathering because
Yeah.
it was a pretty good size space.
Yes,
So,
that's the way I understood it too.
so I don't think unless you knew you were going to have, and like I said, I don't even know how big that space is. That I don't know. It may hold 200 people. I'm not sure, but you don't want to, I guess, pay for something that you're not going to use if there's other options, I guess is what I'm thinking. Um, any other thoughts on that? Okay. Well, Laura, you'll have to get back in touch uh, once you find out that information, and that way, if you find that out, and if anybody else is aware of anything or comes up of anything, then you could share it back with the militia. That way, that could be planned out.
Okay, I will get with them. I had like my baby shower with Sarah there and her birthday party there. It is a small church. Um, it fits what, about 40 in the cafeteria or the basement, which is like a little kitchen, which
Right.
is probably where we would do it. And there's like, I taught the kids there, so there's two rooms. There's like a nursery for toddlers and then a regular room. So, um, it would be enough space for us with this size. But if we got, 30, 40 people, we couldn't depend on it anymore. But I'm
Right.
I'm I'm thinking they probably would. They did it for free before. Do you want me to offer them a specific price to rent it? Is there a budget for that, or I guess that would be a Belinda question.
Yeah, I don't know what funds are available, but yeah, I'd say that would be a question. I know um, it's kind of like we did, I guess, with the cards and everything. Just have to reach out and figure out, especially if it was something you were offering, or just out of them allowing you to use something for free. I mean, so that could definitely be discussed with her to find out what funds are available. Any other thoughts on that?
I think if we have to have funds, it's got to go through the General Assembly and all that too. So,
To be voted on?
yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Mhm.
So that would be like, if you were figuring out, if you pinpointed a date and you had like a facility or a couple facilities in mind, then that would have to come again, I guess, before the General Assembly to vote on. That way that those funds could be appropriated for that event. Unless somebody just volunteers to take that and do it themselves, or excuse me. I mean, it could be one of those things. I guess if you weren't using like general funds from the assembly, then let's just say, use this example. Everybody say it costs $50, and you had 10 people, and they said, "Well, we'll pitch in $5 a piece." And if you didn't want to go through the General Assembly, but everybody was going to cover their their $5 part, then that would cover that rental fee or whatever you were offering, in maybe a case where, say, that they weren't charging you anything. That's just my thought. So that would be something we still would need to work towards and work on to try to set something up. As it gets closer to the end of the year and Christmas, everybody gets busy. It may be one of those things that everybody would want to push off to January, but that would just be something that needs to be discussed and kind of figured out to know what everybody's kind of thinking on that. Is there any specific time frame that? Sorry, I'm looking for a pen.
Speaking of Belinda, she's on now. So Belinda, we are discussing fundage and going through. Can we vote on a price? So when I call, like on this, because we're not, and we'll deal with that at the General Assembly, but like an offering price. So when I call the church, I can say, hey, we can pay you this much. Can we do that with the secretary here? Or, I mean, because we don't even know if it's set in stone yet. I just don't want to offer nothing because it's going to involve the pastor's time. He's going to have to drive to the church and let us in, and that's like an hour for him. So I think $50 would be good. I think he would accept that. Um, if that you think I could put that offer to the pastor that I'm going to call.
Right now, the treasury, we're having an issue. All of our accounts are currently locked. Until we can find a way to get in them right now, we don't have access. Like our Stripe account, our Zoom account, that's what we tried to explain to you yesterday. They are all locked. So until we can get that resolved, we don't have access to stuff right now.
So thanks for sharing that, Belinda. I did talk to Justin earlier, and he was able to get in. I thought the way he talked for the Zoom link, but I didn't know if anybody else had discussed that or not. Since he's on here, he can't address that. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm supposed to call him later tonight because the Square account is completely locked up. The Zoom account was locked up. Every email that we try to get access to, I still cannot get into my Ionis account. Everything was gridlocked last night. So I know Justin said he was going to be working on it today when he got off. So he might have gotten in. I don't know. I have not spoken to him, so I'm not sure. I just know that we tried. Well, I tried again late last night, but the Square account is hooked to the recording secretary's account, email account, and we could not get into that, and so is the Zoom. So if he was able to get into the Zoom, I might be able to get into the Square account, but I'm not sure what that's looked like right now. I mean, that could be what he's working on, trying to get into. So
Yeah, discuss that with him because I was under the way when we talked, my understanding that he was able to get in on Zoom. Uh,
okay.
but again,
No,
just confirm that so because I know that ties everything up. So that'll just, I guess, at this point in time, until that can be figured out, that will just have to be put on hold. But I guess, Laura, from your perspective, if just as long as you know if that facility was, available or something, then kind of play off of that, I guess would be the best thing.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Not that I really wanted to do this, but I'm going to be stepping down as militia coordinator, and it has to do with the work that I do, but more so than that is the fact that we're building a new place on our farm, and I'm not having it built 100% by like just a builder with the lock and key and you're going to go in. So it's being framed up by a friend of mine, and then once it gets enclosed, then I'm taking over, and then I'm going to be finishing it out. Chris and I have talked. He did the same thing several years back. It's a lot of work involved, and with the business that I've got, my business is a very detail-oriented business and takes a lot of time. As soon as I get off tonight, I'm going back out to the shop to do some more work. So with that, the way when I talked to Chris, because this is again wasn't my intention, because I didn't want to put him in a bad situation as far as he agreed to step up as co-coordinator as long as somebody else would take the lead. But for me, and hopefully you all understand, this is about putting my family first. It's not about trying to duck out, but at the same time, if I can't do or give the proper time to this position as a leadership position, then I feel like I would be doing an injustice to the whole in Kentucky Assembly. And so with that, I've made that decision to step down tonight. And from this point, since Chris is co-coordinator, he would automatically fill in that position as coordinator. I have no doubt that he would do an excellent job. He does great. He talks about his speaking abilities, but he can speak fine. He's just a good old country boy like the rest of us. But the thing is I want to still be involved. I just don't know to what extent at this point. And probably for some time it may be pretty limited. But I've got to do what I've got to do for my family first. And I think everybody should understand that, because you all could be in the same position that I'm in, and I would totally understand that.
Congratulations on a new house.
Well, thank you. It's
exciting. It's a good reason to step down. I mean, at
well,
least
it
it's
is.
not,
It's
oh,
just
I'm so stressed out and can't handle the job. I mean, that's a wonderful congratulations. I'm happy for you.
well, thank you. I just we were talking. We don't know what each day is going to bring, and only the good Lord knows. And none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. And all I know is as the head of my household, I need to take care of my family and protect my family. And the place that we have is a really good place. And I want to get out there yesterday is really what I want. But so I'm trying right now to move forward as quick as possible without basically cutting corners and stuff. But unfortunately, things have gotten delayed, and then we didn't get started till just recently. But the frame is almost completely up, So as soon as we can get it enclosed and stuff, then I will take over and start doing the stuff on the inside. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me, not to mention what I do each day during the day. So again, this was not really what I planned. I think it was one of those things I had a good idea or good thoughts, good intentions initially, but it's one of the old saying is you can get too many irons in the fire, and if you do that, then you're going to ruin all your steel if you're not careful. So I don't want too many irons in the fire where I can't take care of what needs to be taken care of, and my family comes first. So
I totally agree with that, and that is an awesome reason to have to step down. I hate to see anybody step down, but that's a dream of mine, so I'm with you. But just so you know, I have lots of tools, I have lots of skills, and I'm willing to help if you need a hand.
I appreciate that very much. That means a lot. So I might take you up on that. So be careful what you offer.
That's okay. Like when I say I got tools, I mean, I've remodeled my whole entire house, kitchen, plumbing, wiring. Like I have a lot of tools that are useless to me at this point, but it's because I bought them. It was easier to buy them and do it myself than it was to hire somebody to do it. So we just ran new Ethernet cords throughout the house, and I had to buy all those little special tools, to cut the wire, to add the new clips on, and to fish them through the walls, and like literally the stupid things that you don't think you need. If you run into something like that, let me know, because I have an entire toolbox of those tools that I might use that only time. So I'd be willing to share, and so you don't have to buy them.
Thanks, I appreciate that. So
Yeah, same here. And also my brother, he's a licensed plumber.
oh really?
Anything, just reach out. Yeah.
Well, cool. I could really that is something I could use some help on immediately, and the reason is because I was going to do the rough in, and I had a guy that I had met actually through my church that I thought was gonna help, and it just hasn't worked out. So I wanted to kind of make sure that I was looking at things the right way, because I'm trying to do what I can so that I can save some money, because everything's expensive these days. At the same time, though, I don't want to, try to be like a rocket scientist when I can't do that, So it's one of those things I gotta look at it and figure it out. So I may take you up on that, Austin.
Yeah, no problem. If you want, I can just give him your number, or I'll give you his number.
I
Either
think,
or.
let's see. Let me check here. I think I got yours.
I'll drop in the chat.
No, yeah, no, because I looked it up and I don't have yours. I could have swore I did though.
No problem.
Yeah, if you'll drop it in the chat, that'll be great. And then if nothing else, I may call and talk to you a little bit, just one-on-one, and then before I, contacted your brother. But basically, if I could get somebody just to kind of walk me through, because a lot of the work I could do, I don't think part of it is hard, but at the same time, I don't think that it is rocket science. I just need somebody kind of point me in the right direction, and I could do a lot of the grunt work.
Right. Yeah. He used to work at his wife owns Clayton's Plumbing, and he did a lot of the rough end stuff. And now he works at Dawn Hire, and he does the finishing.
Okay.
So he's been doing it for a while. He's got quite a bit of experience, and I'm sure he don't mind helping and walking you through some stuff.
Yeah, like if somebody shows me, if I had a drawing or something, and I had an idea, and they say, hey, that's definitely not going to work, or hey, you need to do this or that. That's the type of stuff would be really helpful. So I appreciate that.
No problem.
Gonna have you an assembly militia barn raising.
Barn, yeah, there you go. Well, and the thing is, my whole goal eventually was to be able to get it to where we could have people out. And, there's almost 77 acres out there, so plenty of room. And we'll just see how things go. I gotta get this place built first, so we gotta tackle one thing at a time. But I'm gonna grab Austin's number before I forget. Is there anything that I can help you guys with, like I said, or I know going forward, I told Chris as he steps into this role, I'll do whatever I can to try to help him. Not that I know all that much anyway. I've kind of been winging this, and I'm just thankful that I had Chris, and I really hate to leave Chris in this position, but I just feel like this is what I've got to do right now.
So I have a question. Do you think you'll still be around some? Because you're talking about helping Chris. Like, will there be some meetings you can pop in at, you think? Do you still
Well,
have
yeah,
that in your heart?
that was kind of the plan. But it's just one of those things. Like right now, I'm not even looking up stuff for myself. Like I still got some business stuff that I need to look up and take care of. A lot of this stuff that I haven't even watched the last several videos of Anna's, which sometimes I listen to them when I'm in my shop. It just depends on what's going on. I can't really watch it, but I can listen to it. Uh, but right now I've got two jobs that I'm working on, and trying to balance those out, and then I'm trying to go out there when I can to talk to my framer. Uh, like I got to go out tomorrow because he's getting ready to rough in the doors and that kind of stuff, to have those ready so that when we get a little further along, then that'll all be done. So yeah, I plan to be around here and there. It's going to be spotty and sporadic. But as far as Chris is concerned, and the militia, because it's not that I know that much, but all the stuff that we've talked about, all the things that we've discussed, uh, Chris is free to contact me at any time to say, hey, what about this? What about that? Even if I can't be there for meetings, or I'm not there, but he needs some help, then I'll try to do what I can. I just know that if somebody else has the time, and if we're needing to do research and look up all this stuff, right now I'm looking up, I'm trying to, I just bought windows yesterday. I'm trying to look at all these doors and all these other things, and I've got some different things, and um, it's just kind of get your head spinning, and I don't want to get it to where I'm just totally not, I'm like here, but I'm not really present. I don't think it does the assembly any good. And hopefully you guys would respect me for that, because if I'm going to do it, I want to do my best. And if I feel like I can't do my best, then I don't think I need to be doing it at all. So that's where I stand on that.
Sorry guys, I'm late. Just got off the CMS call. I'm double stacked on meetings. Sorry about that. What did I miss?
Well, uh, I'm stepping down, Joe,
Okay.
because of we're building a house out on the farm, and with work and everything, I just can't put the effort that needs to be done to this position, and I don't think I would do the assembly justice. So Chris is going to take over for now, and I told Chris I plan to still be around, but it's going to be sporadic.
Right.
And I'll be glad to try to help you guys out in any way that I can. Anything that we've discussed in the past, or anything that that's we've talked about, if you have a question or something, I'll be glad try to help out there, and I don't plan to just disappear altogether, but at the same time, for my family's sake and for what we're trying to do, I've got to do this right now
Yeah,
for us.
I get it, man. The resiliency is what we're working up to, and we should be able to respect people's when they have to dip out. I get it. We have to build redundancies around that. I get it. I really do.
I mean, that's like I told them before you jumped on here, that, I never planned on this. It wasn't my initial thought, but it just, Chris said he knows all too well. He remembers what you did about 3-4 years ago, and what was it, Chris? Is that what it was, 3 or 4?
My house about 5 or 6 years ago, and my shop with living quarters was probably 12, 13 years ago. So I'll finish both of them.
A lot
up
of
when I'm done with them.
experience there that he said he can relate to. So, but
A lot of work.
in this particular case, Joe, I'm not doing a lock and key. Once this barn door gets framed in, roughed in, I'm taking over.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of work ahead of me, and I didn't want to leave the militia part of the assembly pillar just kind of
Well,
nipping along.
you and Chris teaming up and covering down when you can. Period. That's exactly how it should be, in my opinion. You got to have a buddy
Yeah.
system.
Well, I feel like Chris and I have made a good team. I know I really appreciate Chris as being my right hand man there, and so again, if I can help out in any way, even if I'm absent, but if we can continue conversation or if he wants to shoot me questions or thoughts, I mean, if my opinions of importance or whatever, then I'll definitely be glad to help out in that way.
For sure. Yeah, we got plenty of things on the burners, so we got to move them around. Steer this one and put that one back, cool it off. That's what we're working with. That's the dynamic. And if we had hundreds of people, it would be much easier, much more fluid.
Right, exactly. And that's the unfortunate part, because I know that there's, so many people that are status corrected, but we don't have these participants, and then that leaves just a handful of people to trying to juggle everything, and it's really difficult to do. And we're all volunteers, nobody's getting paid for this. So anyway, I just had to look at everything and examine it and see what was best for my own, and I trust that everybody else would do the same, and I would respect that for whoever it was. So
Sure. Absolutely. Well, we have some things about compensation. We're working on that too. It's going to be as an offering. It's going to be offered to all state assemblies through their liaison. What I'm needing from the assembly is somebody that I can mentor and be that liaison.
Can I do that?
Yeah. As a coordinator, you can task that. That's an ASN role. Absolutely. Yeah. That's where we got the idea from, the state coordinator role. So yeah, we can daisy chain together with a small crew and show how it can be done with a small amount of crew. And then with that, we're going to impress people coming into the assembly. CMS is already on top of it, how they can work through and power hour workshops when they're just precisely talking about one thing, and that's what they know about the assembly, talk about it, and then offer the replays to newcomers, because when they come in, they're going to, well, what's next to do? Okay, well, we need to get these operations and these best practices annotated. So go ahead and listen to those. And that's their job then, is to put our discussions into a manual form, because we're spinning our wheels naturally, because we don't know the process of what to do next. But we do know the committee structure, we know the assembly pillar structure, and we know we need people as elected officials or elected officers, but we don't have the procedures locked down. We can get them moving in meetings like this, just like this one, and we can just talk through it. And while we're talking, we're not stumbling. We're actually talking through the process that will be annotated later by new assembly members. They will be the ones putting those, because they're listening to the replays. Laura and I talked about this last night a little bit, I think. But yeah, as far as mentorship, Todd, that was great. And Chris, excellent. Pairing up for as long as you guys have. If one of you two need to step down, I mean, for any period of time, Chris can now search for somebody to join him, and now you actually have 3, 2, and then 1 on standby. Todd. So that's how it goes.
yeah, like I say, that I hope to see that happen. Like if more people would get involved and volunteer for those positions. And see, you were mentioning something. I kind of lost my train of thought on there. Oh, I know what it was. I was going to go back and bring you up to speed. So on the training day that we had been working on, we were trying to still figure out a date and a location, and Laura mentioned about possibly using one of the old church fellowship. Is it fellowship hall, Laura?
To be real honest, it used to be a chicken coop. It's kind of in farmland, and it's real close to Belinda. It's called Fairmount Baptist Church, and it has a little basement in there that holds about 40 people. We usually get, I don't know, two or three, four, four tables, the card tables. We can get 3 or 4 rows in it, but it
So,
has side rooms too.
so picking up off what she just described, Joe, that was having to do with, if you have to get a location and rent, and then Chris and I were talking about the location from the PKTF, but you mentioned it was, I think, rather large and fairly expensive, and we're not to that point yet. So I didn't see that that was probably a good place to try to use at this point in time. So we were trying to figure out other options. So Laura said that there may be a place like that. Even if they didn't charge anything, maybe we could offer something. But right now, all the funds and the emails and stuff are kind of tied up. And Justin has been working on some stuff. I think he's made some headway with the email, but we're not 100% for sure. And then also with the funds being tied up, you can't really do anything through the assembly funds until that is freed up and have access to. So we would have to figure out another route. And I even mentioned the fact either if everybody pitched in, if they were going to go and say there were 10 people and you were say they didn't charge anything and you decided, hey, we'll give them $50 and everybody gives $5 a piece or something like that. So there's ways around it, but
Well,
one
I
of the
do
first.
have some cash on hand as well. And if it's $50, we have $50 in cash.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. But I'm just, using that as an example, just in case something was completely tied up, that it'd be like, okay, there's other ways that we can make it happen or whatever. So just to kind of bring you up to date on that, and the 4 topics, nobody's yet picked up the security, safety, and protection. But Chris said he would offer to do the water filtration again, and that would give us still four topics to go over. So that's kind of get you up to speed on that, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, let me share some talk again. You guys, I run analysis on every project that I run. We can do a class on that if you guys would like. Just generalize it. It's a real simple process. You can learn it as you go. It's just 101 analysis. And so this is a business setting. So I'll just give you an example. The business cards that we had set up,
right,
and established, and now the reason we set that was designed that and pitched to you guys that way is because if somebody needed to step down that's dedicated and they have a business material or business instrument that's carrying their name, just with that card and tie with your name on it, you can default to that of a receptionist, where you basically are then default to a part of outreach. In other words, your name is on the card, but somebody is channeling communications and having that accountability, so where that investment isn't wasted. See what I mean?
right,
Like, since you're since you're taking a hiatus, you could still manage calls that will go to Chris.
right,
So you see how it's not perished. It's just you've kind of expanded by stepping back another option as an alternative. I don't know if you had thought about that or considered that, but see now how you're busy doing other things, what you need to do. You need to be able to do that. And how do you perfect that? You gotta examine every aspect moving forwards, and if things fall back. So I ran that through and as an analysis, and I can answer the call for you. And now, even if you step back and are working somewhere else, you could still probably take a call or an email or a text and then forward that over to Chris. So
yes,
Chris wouldn't even need a business card because it's still in the loop. See what I mean?
right,
So analysis brought that as an opportunity. But of course, if you was to say, I'm stepping away, I'm retiring and I'm gone, well then yes. now your name is, tethered to that instrument. And as a contact, as a familiar name for, for people who are interested in reaching out to the Assembly Militia, then yes. But to be able to step away still, it's still, it's still manageable. So that card is still accurate.
Right.
And I still have those cards too. I did talk to Chris and he didn't get my email, so I don't know if anybody else got that email. And I'm gonna try to resend that as soon as I can, but I do have cards here at my house whenever we can get together and disperse those.
Thanks, Belinda. I was going to say, Joe, too, I need to reach back out. I haven't heard back from Patrick about the other cards that we had the issues with.
Mhm.
He was
How many?
supposed to.
How many were?
Let me see. I don't. This is not my normal notebook. I'll have to go back and look and tell you. I want to say, for some reason, I want to think there was like 60 some cards or something.
60 that were no good?
Well, there was so many that were no good, but there were so many that were missing.
Oh,
Because
okay.
the only reason so we're supposed to have 500 cards, and the only reason I knew we didn't 500 cards is because I went through them all and counted them because I was thinking about how we could divide them up. And when I counted them, I come up with like maybe 475 or something. And then you had like 36 or I can't remember what the exact number was, but you had 30 some of them that maybe were not good. So altogether you end up having like 50 or 60 cards that need to be replaced.
So you were missing about 25, and then about that much also were bad cards. So what I would do is send that up as a report. You can send it over to me, and then take a picture of the cards front and back, the cards that were not good, and then he can let the vendor know.
He's already done that, but I was under the presumption that he was going to send, because he said he would get them over to the printer and send, but I never received anything, and I never got another email from him. And then I had this weird thing. I was thinking it was kind of like a scam. There's some of this stuff comes up, but there was some kind of thing from the U.S. Postal Service. I didn't really trust it, so I didn't go. It was like, you have a package and blah, 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 and everything. And I don't think that would be it, because the other one came straight here, was no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'll have to reach back out to him, but I wanted to touch base with you, and maybe between me and you and Chris, we can stay in the loop with Patrick on the rest of these cards to get those cards sent out. Whether he sends them to me or at this point in time, if if he hasn't sent them and they need to be, addressed, to Chris or whoever, then we can get those cards in place, or get them back.
And I'm anticipating that the vendor wants to keep customers, so they'll probably send you a whole new batch.
Yeah, maybe. And my thing about when stuff like that happens, if I was involved, I would want to know, and that was the reason. I mean, some of the cards, like there was one card in particular, it wasn't enough to really matter. I remember it specifically. The other cards, you could see this white line. It was like the cutter didn't cut it right or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or the way it printed a part of a white line on the bottom of it. The card itself was still legible. You could see it and stuff like that. But from a perspective of a company putting out professional cards, that would be kind of a knock against them. And if I was that company owner and I was putting out the cards, I would want to know that. That was the reason I reached out to Patrick. Plus the fact that we were supposed to have 500 and we only had like 475 or whatever the number was.
Yeah. So
from the USPS, that's a scam. I get them 3 or 4 times a week.
The postal thing?
Yeah, don't mess with that.
I thought that's what it was. So that's why I didn't touch that. So thanks, Bob. Okay, where were Joe? Did you have anything else that you wanted to share?
I have a lot, but unfortunately, I have a hard stop in about 5 minutes. I have the call I'm hosting is with the Ohio Assembly Militia, and there's a special guest on it. This is another interview that we have. Just so you guys know, if you go to our link tree and access our Rumble, you'll see those interviews. There's 2, and there will be 3 after tonight. But there's plenty of things. We'll talk about that. So you can glean from that. This is a militia conversation, an interview. So we'll talk about things tonight that I can talk about now, but I just don't have the time. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. I just wanted to give you opportunity if you had anything, and we appreciate you jumping on, even if it is just for a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm getting ready to go on vacation with the family. So I'm maximizing this week so I can decompress.
Right. Well, enjoy the vacation with the family and be safe, and hope you have a good time. And
Well,
like,
I can entice you just a little bit. There's a database similar to LexisNexis that law enforcement uses. It's called NCIC. We have a retired chief of police in good standing, 27 years. He's coming out of the Louisiana Assembly. A lot of people has heard his name. He's actually joining the PKTF as the executive secretary, the fourth staff that we need. We have four. He's the fourth. But he has access to how we can get our at least PKTF's credential cards read and other assemblies later on. And actually, so when you get a card scanned, it's going to be by the law enforcement when they go back to their cruisers or when they get scanned in the police departments to verify who, with the credentials that the paperwork or the documentation that substantiates the credentials. It's called NCIC. We'll talk a little bit about that on the interview tonight, so you guys can be anticipating of what that discussion will be about. So,
all right, thanks for sharing.
mm-hmm. Yep. Let me jump off here.
Okay, take care, Joe.
I'll see you, Todd. I want to take pictures of that bar, man. I want to see what it's like.
Okay, I will. See you, brother.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna hop off here too, guys. So if y'all need anything, just let me know.
Okay, thanks, Belinda.
Thanks,
All right,
Belinda.
bye.
We're going to wind down. Unless somebody has any other thoughts or comments, the next meeting is scheduled for the 30th. I was trying to remember how many meetings were on this link. I think there were 6, but I'm not sure which one
6.
this one is. Does anybody know right offhand?
I believe this was the second, and I think he said there was 4.
4. Okay.
I'm not positive, but I believe that.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking, let me see here.
Uh,
I was looking at it earlier. So, okay, the October 2nd, when he sent it out, it says this link is good for the next 6 meeting spaces. And that, when I pulled it up, yeah, because that was the ID I meet. So, and that was the 2nd.
Is that 6 weeks or is that 6 meetings? Because we're doing them every 2 weeks.
Let's see here. Hold on a second.
6 meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I was taking it because it said, yeah, next 6 meeting spaces. So
Every 14 days.
Yep, every 14 days. Yep, that's it. So, again, the next scheduled meeting would be the 30th at 7 p.m. I know Chris said he was not going to be able to be present for the General Assembly meeting. What I will do, I don't know if I'm going to be there, so I think what I will do is Chris and I will talk, and then anything that we want to put together, we can, if nothing else, put it together and then send it to Belinda. So when she's doing the agenda notes, that they can they can have that updated. If nothing else, so that as they're going down, even if there's nobody there to present, you still have what's current. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I figure that's the least we can do, just in case by some chance I know Chris is going to be gone, and if I'm not actually going to be there, then that way there at least will be up in an up to date agenda that. So Chris and I'll just touch base and do that. That's not a big deal. Any other thoughts or comments? Is there a move to adjourn?
This is Tom, yeah.
Yes, Tom.
Hey, Todd, I just wanted to say, well done on what you did with with your time as a militia coordinator. You made a big impact in a short amount of time. And, so I say, bravo. Thanks a lot for your effort. I yield.
Well, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. I feel like I know Chris and I were talking. You feel like we're wandering through the dark on some things because none of us have ever done this before. But it's been a good experience. And like I said, I don't plan to just fall off the planet or anything. But I just got to take a step back and do what I feel is right for my family. And I'll stay kind of back in the shadow for a while so I can get done what I need to get done. Try to be at least available, if nothing else, for conversation or questions or thoughts or ideas if that would be something that you guys would be interested in. And then maybe after things kind of lighten up a little bit and we get this build behind us, then I can jump back into some point of serving, whether or not it's with militia or if it's part of that or something else. We'll see at that point in time. I mean, that's we'll just see. But hopefully somebody else will jump in here with Chris and help him out. Again, if I can stay back in the shadow, even like the stuff that Joe mentioned, facilitating, emails or calls that had come in or something like that, maybe I can at least do that little bit to help participate. So, and, I want to get and be involved in more different things. It's just with this current schedule, it's just, I don't feel like I can. So I'm just going to have to take this time.
Well, job well done.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you
for
very
your
much.
service, Todd.
Thank you. Again, if y'all need anything, if I can help out, reach out to me. I do appreciate, Austin, you mentioning your brother. I got your contact information plugged in my phone. I'll probably just call you, like I said, first. We can, talk a little bit before I reach out to him. There's a couple other people that I may, that are local that I may reach out, but I do appreciate you, offering that up. That means a lot. Is
Yeah, no
there,
problem, buddy. Anytime.
thanks, sir. Is there a move to adjourn?
I'd like to thank you, and then I'll move to adjourn.
All right, thank you, Laura. So Laura moves to adjourn. Is there a second?
Chris O'Marion, I'll second.
Chris O'Marion seconds adjournment. So this meeting is adjourned until next Wednesday, October the 30th, or 2 weeks from now, I should
2
say. Then you guys take care, be safe. As Chris would say, keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention to what's going on in the world because everything is kind of crazy and you never know from one day to the next. And I think we ought to
Good
keep.
luck.
Thank you. I think we ought to keep in prayer all those that's been affected by the hurricanes and all the things that's been going on, especially with the situation where they're not getting the help and things that they should have been getting, and it's taking people like myself and you guys, reaching out and helping these people. So I think anytime we can help our neighbor, and our neighbor may be 400 or 500 miles away, if we can do it, we ought to be able to do it and try to do it as much as we can. But again, I appreciate you guys, appreciate your input for being a
Yeah,
part.
they have 8 coordinators on North Carolina now.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep.
So anyway, you guys have a great evening. Like I said, I'll be in and out different times. It may be a little while, but take care and God bless.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Chris. All right. Let's see. Need a quick sharing here.